Hey guys. Hi. Hello. What's up? Okay. So I've put together a really, really awesome presentation and workshop for you. Really, this is going to be hands-on. This is live. I'm here and I'm talking directly to you. And so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my screen in a minute. I'm going to be walking you through a lot of the things that you need to know about building your own app and a business around that app. Not just building the app, but also building a business. But to get started, what I would love for you to do is to introduce yourself into the chat. So tell me your name, city, and profession if you have not done that already. So Maureen is in Boston and is a telemedicine app dreamer. I love it. Brittany is in New York and is a teacher. Richard is from Toronto. Richard, what do you do for work? Alan is an account specialist in Michigan. Very cool. Jamal is in Austin, Texas, and is a compliance officer. So introduce yourself just like that into the chat. Tell me your name, city, and profession. Erica is in Wixom, Michigan, and is an entrepreneur. Very cool. Okay, you guys do cool stuff. Lisa is in Trinidad and is an administrative assistant and travel enthusiast. I love it. Okay, cool. Sonia is in Atlanta and works in accounting. Do exactly what they just did. Introduce yourself into the chat. Tell me those three things. As you are doing that, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know in the chat once you can see my screen. Sometimes it takes a minute to show up. So let me know as soon as you can see it, and then we will get started. Sometimes it takes a second for you to see. Nelson is in Atlanta as a teacher and personal trainer. Paula is in Houston. Very cool. Very cool. Delante is originally from Detroit, lives in Arizona. Got it. Very cool. Janelle is a computer systems admin. Got it. In North Carolina. Oh, Roosevelt, you said you can see my screen. Yeah, let me know when you guys can see my screen. It takes a second to show up. Erica says I can see you. I am so glad. Yes, City says, yes, I can see. Perfect. You should be able to see me and my screen. So you should be able to see both. Just want to make sure you guys can see both. Let me know if you can see both. And we'll get started. Now, just so that you know, this is going to be super, super hands-on. I'm going to be talking to you directly and working with you through your business. Like, this is going to be a actual workshop. We're going to be workshopping your ideas. And if for any reason you guys have trouble hearing me, like we have a connection issue, just you see this button at the top of the screen that says reconnect? Do you see that button? So you can click that button, reconnect, if for some reason we're not able to see each other or hear each other. Now, one last thing. Some people said they can't see me. I'm just going to put this in the chat. You can't see or hear me. Make sure you press play. If there's no play option, then move from your phone to your computer. It works better that way. I'm just going to type that into the chat for people who for some reason can't see me. Okay. All right. And if you guys, if people are having trouble because they can't see me, I would love if you can help me spread this message I just typed into the chat. Okay. So we're going to jump into this. Today, we're talking about how to go from an idea, just an idea that you have, to actually making income with that idea in 60 days. So this is a pretty short time frame that we're talking about. So we got a lot of work to do in terms of getting a plan together for you. Specifically today, we're talking about how to come up with an app idea, how to build it without any tech people, and how to charge people real money to use that app. That's what we're talking about today. That's the model. All right. So I want to welcome you to the workshop. I'm super pumped to have you here. And I want to talk to you because I had a chance to email some of you guys ahead of this masterclass. And what I asked you was, well, why did you sign up for the class? Like I asked a lot of people when we got a chance to talk. And so everybody told me different things. But some of you guys told me that right now you are working a 9-to-5 job. Let me know in the chat if you are working a 9-to-5. Type 9-to-5 into the chat if you are working a 9-to-5 job now. But you're hoping to take control over your own earning potential in 2017. And what I mean by control over your own earning potential is that, right now you make X amount. And with a job, it's hard to make more unless you go to a totally new job or you get a huge raise or something like that. But with entrepreneurship, you can there's no ceiling. You can continue to make more. So I know a lot of you guys are in the 9-to-5 job now. I see lots of 9-to-5s into the chat. Very cool. But you're hoping to take control over your own earning potential in 2019, right? Now, some of you guys said something different. You said, I signed up for this workshop because I want to put myself in a position so that I am not affected by layoffs or government shutdowns. If you're in the US, you know a little bit about this, or the economy, right? You're trying to build a rock solid plan for yourself so you're not being pulled every which way when the economy changes or when circumstances change. Type rock solid into the chat if this is something that you're thinking about and building this rock solid plan for yourself, right? Now, some of you guys told me that you already have an app idea. And you can let me know in the chat if you already have an app idea. Some of you guys already have an app idea, but you have been stalling on this app idea for weeks. Some of you guys have been months, and some of you guys it's been years that you've been stalling on this app idea. It's been a long time, right? Now, other of you guys told me that you don't have an app idea yet. You don't have an idea yet, but you are here today because you would like to get some help coming up with a good one. So we're going to be talking about that as well and making sure that you have a strong app idea. Now, other of you guys already have an app idea. Like you got one. You already have something that's boiling around in your head, but you're not sure how that idea is going to make real money for you, right? Like actually going to generate revenue so that if you want to, you could choose to not work at your 9-to-5 job and be an entrepreneur full time, right? You're not really sure exactly how this app idea is going to get you there, right? Now, other of you guys, and let me know in the chat if this is you, some of you guys are already entrepreneurs, meaning this is not your first time at the entrepreneurship rodeo, right? But you're not quite as successful as you want to be. There's more that you want to do. Let me know in the chat if you are already an entrepreneur, if it's not your first time thinking about entrepreneurship. But really one of the things I thought was super interesting was as I was talking to all of you guys before the workshop, really you all kind of said the same thing in different ways, right? Everybody wanted to find a way to work less, travel more, and do it on your own terms. So for some of you guys, that meant that you wanted to have a side hustle in addition to your job that was bringing in extra income. Other of you guys are like, listen, I'm done with this 9-to-5 life. I want to be a full-time entrepreneur. But either way, everyone was talking about working less, traveling more, and doing it on their own doggone terms, right? I thought that was interesting that everybody was kind of saying the same things. So if any of the reasons that I just mentioned, any of those things resonate with you, any of those reasons for being at the workshop or why you were here, I want you to know that you're in the right place. It's going to be really fun, really interactive, and we're going to be talking through your app ideas step by step by step. So you're in the right place if any of those things are you or represent the reason you're here. Cool? So I like to be super, super transparent about my goals for this masterclass. So let me just tell you up front what my goal is. I have a couple goals, actually. So my first goal is to work with you, like work directly with you today to build a plan for creating a side hustle and some additional income to cushion you in 2019, right? Additional income, side hustle, 2018. That's what we're working on here, right? 19, I'm sorry. My second goal for you for this masterclass is to help you take your existing knowledge. So not a bunch of stuff you have to go learn and study and like that you don't know yet, not that. Your existing knowledge, stuff you already know, your existing expertise, and just turn that into an app idea that you can charge people to use. We don't have to go do a bunch of new stuff. We can take the stuff that you already know about, your existing knowledge, and turn it into something that's going to generate revenue for you. And then my final goal for you in this masterclass for us together is to show you a method that you can use to avoid spending $20,000, $30,000 hiring someone to build an app for you. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that is how much it costs to hire someone to build an app for you. So if you want to avoid that because the $20,000, $30,000 is not in your budget, I'm going to show you a specific method you can use to do that. And also a specific method you can use to avoid spending a whole year struggling to learn about computer programming and trying to be the world's best computer programmer when you know that's not your forte, right? We're going to show you a different method to use. So you might be wondering, wait a minute, who is this lady? For some of you guys, we've met before, but other of you guys are not familiar with who I am. So I just want to quickly introduce myself before we jump into all of this. So my name is Tara Reid, and I am a tech entrepreneur. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I used to lead marketing initiatives at Google, Foursquare, and Microsoft. So my background is in tech, but I was not the person who was building the apps and building the technology at those tech companies. I was working on the marketing and sales teams, and I was helping people who were building the apps, but I did not build any apps myself when I was in those roles. Didn't know how. And so in 2014, I founded a really successful art startup. And I built the company's app and algorithm without writing any code. And so this process that I'm going to teach you today of building an app without any tech people, of charging people to use the app, coming up with a really great app idea, got me in my first year of entrepreneurship $150,000 in revenue. And my first $300,000 from investors who said, I love what you're doing. Here's some money so you can take it to the next level. Right? James says, teach me how to get that app bag. I love it. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Roosevelt says, I saw the TED Talk and became a fan. Oh, good. I'm glad. Awesome. So I've been really blessed to be featured in some awesome publications. Entrepreneur Magazine featured me in their Young Millionaires edition last year. Forbes has done some really fun articles on how to succeed in Silicon Valley when you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. And just like Roosevelt just mentioned, I've done a really fun TED Talk on building apps without code that has now over 300,000 views. But I want to be super, super transparent in sharing that when I started in entrepreneurship, like day one, it was not a bunch of press and success. Like that's not how it started. That is not what day one looked like. So when I started, I was a professional. I was working a 9-to-5 job, much like a lot of you guys are. And my job was okay. I didn't love it. It was just like, it was all right. It paid the bills. And I actually, at the time, I didn't really realize how important it was for me to really love my job. But I had some goals, right? Like a couple things I wanted to do. So the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to build my own app business so I wouldn't have to spend my entire life working for someone else's dream. Like at the time, I was working for Bill Gates' dream, not my own. Right? So I wanted to build my own business so I wasn't spending my entire life working for someone else's dream. Ray Mitchell says, same here. And I also wanted to pay off my student loans so that I could work less and travel more and not have to worry about money all the time, right? I wanted to have some sort of shot at retiring early. These are all the things that I was thinking about. They were going around in my head, right? I was trying to come up with a plan. But I kept hitting a ton of roadblocks. So the first roadblock that I hit, and you can let me know if you guys in your own journey have hit any of these roadblocks or you know about this. So the first roadblock that I hit, the first challenge, was that I didn't have $20,000 to hire someone to build my app for me. I just didn't have that kind of money sitting around, right? It wasn't an option for me. Now, let me know in the chat, have any of you guys gone to an app agency and they've told you how much it would cost for them to build your app? Let me know in the chat if they told you kind of what they said, right? So for me, I just didn't have that kind of money to hire someone to build an app for me. Also, I didn't have 1 year or 2 years to sit down and just learn how to code before I even got started with anything. I didn't have time for multiple years of learning something before I got started. It just wasn't an option. And I was having a ton of trouble finding the right tech-savvy business partner. Like I was going to events and going to networking things and I was meeting people, but finding someone who I could actually trust to work on my business with me, like that was really tough. I was struggling with that, right? I see a lot of you guys have had the same roadblocks. Jordan says, exactly, me too. Yeah, Sonia says, me too. Yeah, so for me, these were the personal roadblocks I just kept hitting. These are the issues that I had, right? And I knew that if I took too long, someone else was going to move faster than me eventually, and they were going to launch the same idea that I had first. And I was getting really frustrated because I felt like a failure because it was taking me so doggone long to get started, right? This is where I was at the time. Now, to make everything worse, in the middle of all of this, Microsoft laid off 80,000 people, and your girl was one of them. So I lost my job in the middle of trying to figure out how to become an entrepreneur. I had no way to pay my bills. I ended up moving to Detroit with my best friend to kind of get back on my feet. I remember I was completely embarrassed. It took me a couple months to actually tell my friends that I had lost my job just because I was embarrassed about it. Okay? So after all of this, I decided, listen, I'm not going to be stuck anymore. Like I refuse to get stuck anymore. I'm done being stuck. And I taught myself this process that I'm going to teach to you today of building apps without code, without tech people, without any of the headache, right? So the first version of the app that I built, my first app, got me my first $35,000 in sales and got me a $100,000 investment from 500 Startups, which is a top tech accelerator in Silicon Valley, right? Now, I started blogging about my journey building apps without code. I did a TED Talk, which some of you guys have seen. Let me know in the chat if you've already seen this TED Talk on building apps without code. And I also started coaching other entrepreneurs. I coached an entrepreneur named Josh who had an idea for an app to help schools teach music classes. And I helped him build his app. He now has 23 schools who have written him a big check to say, we love this app. Here's some money so that we can use it at our school. And the school is his client. There's lots of schools who are his clients. And I worked with another entrepreneur named Patrick who had an idea for an app to help manufacturing plants become more efficient. And guess who became his first customer? Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola said, we love this app that you built. Here's some money so that we can use it in our factories, right? And so overall, I've helped entrepreneurs generate over $1 million in app launch revenue. So let's pause for a second. What the heck does this have to do with you, right? Like all this stuff I'm telling you, what does it have to do with you? Well, you also have an idea of becoming an entrepreneur. That's why you're here. That's why we're talking. Right? You also cannot rely on a 9-to-5 job for all of your stability. You just can't, right? We often think that job security is always going to be there. A company's always going to take care of us, but they're not, right? You also are already 100% qualified to build your own app idea. And you can take your existing passions, your existing interests, the stuff you already know, and turn it into an app idea. Turn it into an app business, right? So how the heck did I go from getting laid off from my job to building $1 million tech empire? Like what the heck happened in between? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about and digging into in detail. All right. So let me know if you are ready for me to break this down. That was our warm up. I just wanted to introduce you to the workshop. Let me know in the chat if you are ready for me to break this down so we can go into detail about all the steps that you need to know along this journey. Let me know in the chat if you are ready to go. MacArthur says similar to stocks. I'm not really sure what you're asking is similar to stocks, but I think you're talking about the examples of people who had other companies pay to use their app. So no, that's not stocks. Those are customers. Coca-Cola is his customer, for example. All right. I see Rhonda says, yes, I'm ready. Azim says, break it down. Brittany says, let's go. With a period in between. Let's get it. Roosevelt says, I love it. Richard says, we are ready. Demir says, let's get it with lots of exclamation points. Ann says, okay. All right, let's do it then. Ready? All right, let's break this down. Specifically, what I'm going to be breaking down for you is how to go from idea to income in 60 days, how to come up with an app idea, build it without any tech people, and then charge people real money to use the app. Marco says, vamos, so we're going to do it. All right, so here's an overview of what you're going to learn today. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes, right? We don't need to linger on this. We'll have clarity in 15 minutes. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people getting involved. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Cool, this is your overview. Can we jump right into secret number 1? Ready? Okay, secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. So in order to understand this and really dive into this, what I need you to understand is that there is a difference between an app idea and an app business idea. App idea, app business idea. Most people think that they're the same thing, but they are not the same thing. An app idea is a dime a dozen, and everybody and their mama can come up with an app idea. App ideas are easy to come up with. But an app business idea and coming up with an app business idea requires a strategy. You need to know how you're going to make money, how you're going to make profit, how you're going to get customers, how you're going to serve them. It requires an entire strategy to go with it, right? An app business idea. So I want to introduce you to the SMART idea formula. The SMART idea formula, what is it? It is a series of questions to help you brainstorm an app idea that you are already 100% qualified to build. Already 100% qualified to build. Right? You don't have to learn anything new. So to show you how the SMART idea formula works, I want to give you an example. I want to introduce you to Joshua Head. Josh is an entrepreneur that I have had the pleasure of coaching. So when I sat down with Josh, we sat down to work together. The first thing we did was we went through his SMART idea formula. And really, I just had a series of questions for him, and he answered the questions. So my first question for him was, what do you do for work? Right? I want you to pay attention to these questions because I'm going to ask you the same questions in a moment. So my first question for Josh was, what do you do for work? And he's like, oh, that's easy. I'm a music teacher, right? I was like, okay, great. Got it. You're a music teacher. And then I had a second question for Josh. I said, okay, got it. So you're a music teacher. Name one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort on at work. And he thought about it and he said, well, I have to travel to all of the different schools, the middle schools that I teach at one by one. Sometimes I wish I could clone myself so I could be in more than one place at a time. So traveling to schools to teach classes, that takes a ton of time, right? And then I had one last question for Josh. I said, okay, got it. So let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress, right? Let's just brainstorm what could happen once someone logs in. And he thought about it because he didn't know the answer to the questions. We had to think. He said, let me just brainstorm. So students could log in and they could complete lessons and they could work in teams to compose the songs. They could drag and drop different pieces of the song to compose a holistic song. And teachers could give grades. And I could take this app and I could sell it to schools. Right? He was just brainstorming. Well, this is a true story. Josh built an app for schools to teach music classes. He built the app and he got 23 schools in the state of Virginia to pay him money to use his app. He's done $30,000 in revenue. He's gotten $50,000 in investments from people who said, we love this idea. We want to see you take it to the next level. Here's some money to do that. And he did all of that in 6 months. 6 months. So Josh says, this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. So now I want to turn this around to you. It's now your turn. So I'm going to ask you some questions in the SMART idea formula, and I want you to type the answers into the chat. You ready? Get ready to type. We're going to start typing. All right. Ready? Okay. So my first question to you is, what do you do for work? Let me know in the chat. Type into the chat and tell me what you do for work. What's the answer to that question? It's the easy one. I'm throwing you a softball. What do you do for work? Let me know in the chat. What do you do for work? Got it. Cool. Okay. One that says care, teacher. Got it. DJ, photography, hairstylist, a software developer, entrepreneur. I'm a student. Even if you're in between jobs, you're looking for a new job, you can type that in too. Merchandiser, consultant for social media, educator, nurse practitioner. Got it. I teach programming, VFX artist. Got it. Reliability analyst. Got it. You guys do all sorts of cool things. Yeah, Marcus says, wow, a lot of jobs. Yeah, absolutely. Spanish, English interpreter. Very cool. You guys do cool stuff. Casting director. Awesome. Okay, got it. So, you know what you do. I know what you do now. Let's move on to secret number 2. And by the way, again, if you're in between roles or you're looking for different things, that's totally fine. Okay, so number 2. Ready for question number 2? Name something you or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. You or your boss spends a lot of time or effort on at work. Let me know in the chat. And I see other things people do: software engineer, mechanic, financial advisor, consultant for financial advisors. Oh, that's interesting. Back to back. Cybersecurity engineer, planning. Yeah, got it. Okay, so things that take a lot of time: lesson plans, research. Got it. Answering phones, planning, paperwork, emails. Yeah, this stuff sucks, right? Customer service, planning again. Got it. What else takes a lot of time or effort at work? You or your boss complain about it. Network sales, contacting patients and filling prescriptions. Got it. Sourcing, casework, studying, consulting, endless meetings, Olga says. Spa appointments. Got it. Editing resumes. Becky, what about spa appointments do you mean? Like scheduling them or fulfilling them? What do you mean? Answering calls and calculating numbers. Meetings. Got it. Directing auditions. Clear. Okay, got it. These are the things that just like, oh, they take so long. They're really annoying. They're the worst part of the job, right? Okay, now I have a last question for you. My last question is, let's say, and just brainstorm with me for a second. Let's say that you built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen once someone logged into the app? What could the app do that would alleviate some of that stress? Just type some ideas into the chat about how you could solve that with an app. What would the app do, right? And other things you guys are saying take a long time. Curriculum development, studying terminology, got it. Driving on site to interpretations, organizing information, investigations, compiling information on discrepancies for individual branches. Got it. Cool. Okay, so answer or question number 3, let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? Tang says I could have video resources. Yeah, like training. Is that what you mean? What could happen once someone logs in? You could automate questions and answers. You could filter info by area. Nelson says time. What do you mean by time, Nelson? Like you can organize your time? Is that what you mean? Got it. What else could happen to alleviate some of that stress? What happens when someone logs in? It could do a mini audit. It could help you communicate with clients. Yeah. And Valanda, think, how could it help you communicate? Maybe it would give you like a guide for communicating, or it actually do the communication for you. Data collection. Got it. Scheduling appointments. You can pre-order products. Yeah. It would alert them, Thomas says. Yeah. What could the app do to alleviate? It could give them a questionnaire so you have all this data and information collected. Got it. What could the app do that would alleviate some of that stress? It could be self-service for customers. It could match talent with job postings. It could give resources. Got it. Assume, Sharice, that the app is HIPAA compliant because you can build HIPAA compliant applications. So assume that it's completely HIPAA compliant. What could it do? Provide adjusters with information. They have access to lesson plans. Got it. Cool. Provide a quick video training with terminology relating to the case. Very cool. Great ideas, right? So all you're looking at is what's the thing that sucks, that's a challenge, and how could I solve that inside of an app? What could I do, right? Now, let me give you one more example of the SMART idea formula, because right now we're doing a SMART idea formula looking at what you do for work. But you don't have to use the SMART idea formula only with your job. That's just one way to do it. So let me show you another example. This is Carlos Rivera. Carlos is another entrepreneur I have had the pleasure of coaching. And similar to Josh, when I sat down with Carlos, we went through his SMART idea formula. That's the first thing that we went through, right? But I had a different set of questions for Carlos. So I'm going to tell you what questions I asked Carlos. And I'd love for you to type your answers to the questions as we go along into the chat. Got it? Okay. So when I was sitting down with Carlos, the first question that I asked him was, what is one thing you like to do in your free time? A hobby that you like to do? Everyone tell me in the chat, what's one thing you like to do in your free time? Like a hobby you like. But when I asked Carlos this, he said, well, I like to play basketball. Easy. I was like, okay, got it. You like to play basketball. Sounds fun, right? Tell me in the chat for you, what's one hobby or thing you like to do in your free time? So then I had a second question for Carlos. I said, okay, got it. So you like to play basketball. What is one thing that is hard or time-consuming about that hobby? Hard or time-consuming about the hobby? And he thought about it, and he said, well, one thing that's hard or time-consuming is figuring out which courts are available when I want to play. Because sometimes I go to a court, and there's too many people. I have to wait. Or there's not enough people, and I have to, I'm not able to have a full game, right? So tell me into the chat, what is one thing that is hard or time-consuming about this hobby that you have, right? One thing that's hard or time-consuming. And then I asked him one last question. I said, okay, great. So let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress, the stress of being able to go to the court, but not knowing how many people are going to be there, or it's going to be full or available or all that. What could happen once someone logs into the app? And he didn't know the answer. He started brainstorming, and he said, well, maybe gyms could use it, and they could let their members, the gym members, log in and see what courts are free. And they could book the court in advance. And I could sell this app to different gyms, and I could put the gym's branding on the app, right? And this, again, is a true story. Carlos built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts. His first customer, the first customer that was on board, was the YMCA, who said, this is so cool. We would love to use this at one of our locations, and so we can pilot it to see if we want to use it all across the city. Now, just for that one location, Carlos, the YMCA paid Carlos $300 a month, a $300 a month subscription. And he did all of that in 4 weeks, like came up with the app idea, built it, and got the YMCA on board in 4 weeks, like from idea to the income in 4 weeks, right? So I like to show this as an example of how the SMART idea formula works. All you have to do is take something you already know about, think about what's hard or time consuming about that thing, and then build a product to solve that issue, right? And you might be thinking like, hey, Tara, this is really cool. I'm starting to come up with some ideas, but I'm wondering, like, I don't know if I'm qualified to build an app, right? But the thing is, you were completely qualified to build this app if you use the SMART idea formula, because you are automatically, if you use the SMART idea formula, building an app idea in an area where you already have expertise. You already know about your job. You know a lot about it, actually. You already know about your hobbies and things that you like to do for fun. You know a lot about it, actually. So you're instantly an expert, right? Some people were saying, I've heard of his app. I love it. So that is secret number one, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. You just use the SMART idea formula. Let me know in the chat if this has your mind churning a little bit, has some ideas flowing, and kind of getting some creativity going, right? Let me know in the chat if you're getting some ideas going on in your head. Let me know. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's move on then to secret number two. Are you ready to move on? Secret number two. Tracy says, yes, I got some ideas going. I love it. Yeah, let me know in the chat if you have some ideas flowing now. Rhonda says, this is great. Got lots of ideas going. Good, good. I'm glad. So Alan says, for sure. I love it. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is move on to secret number two. Because once you have an idea, or at least you got some creative juices flowing, we need to know how the heck to build this app in the first place. Like, how do we actually create it? And that is secret number two. Secret number two is how to build an app yourself without any tech people. How to build an app yourself without any tech people, without the headache, right? So most people think when they come up with an idea for an app, they're like, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to hire an expensive agency to help me build the first version of my app. Let me know in the chat if this is something that you thought that you needed to do. You're like, oh, okay, I got to hire an agency to build this for me. All right, let me know in the chat. All right. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking this route, by the way. The only challenge is that on average, it costs $20,000 and up to hire someone to build an app for you. And I don't know about you, but when I started, I just didn't have that kind of budget. Rhonda says, this is what I was repeatedly told. They told me repeatedly. Yeah, a lot of us get this advice, right? A lot of us get this advice. And the challenge is that a lot of us, at least when I started, I didn't have this kind of budget to start, right? Now, other people are like, okay, yeah, I didn't really think that I was going to hire an agency. I want to do something different. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a tech-savvy business partner to help me before we start. Let me know in the chat if you've been trying to find a tech-savvy business partner to help you. A tech-savvy business partner to help you. Cherie says that's what I was told. Yeah. So trying to find a tech-savvy business partner. This is a lot of what people do, right? A lot of people are trying to find this. The challenge here, again, there's nothing wrong with this, but the challenge is that you don't want to rush this process. Finding the right business partner for you is like finding the right person to marry. And that if you two are not on the same page about the direction for the business and your vision, you can easily sink this thing very quickly. So you do not want to rush the process of finding a business partner to work with you, even if you did find someone, right? Now, other people say like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I have an idea for an app. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach myself the basics of how to code. That's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to tackle this, right? Anyone in the chat, let me know if you were teaching yourselves the basics of how to code. Let me know if that's what you're working on, or you've been taking a stab at that, or you've tried it, right? Davinia says, I've been there. Got it. Shakita says, preach. I love it. Yeah. So a lot of you guys are looking at teaching yourselves the basics of how to code. But again, nothing wrong with taking this route. The only challenge is that it takes about 12 months, about a year, in order to get proficient enough in app building such that you can build the level of complexity of the kind of app that you need, right? Alan says those app building books are thick and overwhelming. Yeah. And so for a lot of us, we just don't have a whole year to learn something new before we get started. We're like, we need to go. It's time to get going, right? And so this is why all these reasons I just mentioned are why most people, they completely take their app idea and they put it on the back burner. They're like, this is not possible. I can't do this right now. I'm not a tech person. I'll get to this later, right? So what happens is most people put their app idea in the back burner and they end up letting someone else launch the app idea first because they're just like, I can't get to this right now. There's too much. I don't even know where to start, right? But actually, you don't need to do any of those things that I just mentioned. You don't need to learn how to code first. You don't need to hire a tech-savvy business partner. You don't need to hire an expensive agency. You don't need to do any of those things to get started. Actually, you can create apps by using code-free software. Code-free software. Let me show you what I mean. So code-free tools or code-free software let you design apps by dragging, dropping, pointing, and clicking, just like you would design a PowerPoint presentation. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English, not in some other coding language that you have to learn, but in English, which you already happen to know. So you design the app by drag, drop, point, click. You put everything you want onto the page. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English. That's how it works. Now, a logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. A logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. Let me give you an example of a logic statement that you already understand. This is not difficult. This is an easy one, right? If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall. If this, then that. This is a really simple sentence. Everyone understands this sentence, all right? Let me give you another example. If the user clicks the button, then logs them in. If this, then that. See how these sentences just have the same structure, right? So my tip for you is to find logic-based software. The if this, then that is the logic. So find logic-based software for your app. There are a ton of logic-based software tools out there that you can use for creating your app. You don't have to use all of them. You just have to choose the right one or two that are best for what you are personally trying to build. Nina says, oh my gosh, this is dope. I love it. Vivian says, hello there, guys. Hey, Vivian. So logic-based software for your app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some logic-based software tools you can use. I'm going to start with some beginner ones, some easy ones, and then we'll get fancier as we go along. Sound good? I'm going to show you some examples. Great. All right. So the first tool that I want to show you is called Wix, Wix.com. Now, a lot of people know about Wix for creating websites, and you can certainly also use Wix for creating a website. But you can also use Wix for creating an app where people log in with a username and a password, and they enter inside of a custom portal that has unique information just for them. So, for example, you can create a Yelp-like rating and review system where everybody tells you what they think about the Manhattan cocktail bar. People write the reviews and rate it on a 1 through 5 rating and all those sorts of things. You're collecting all the reviews. People can log into their account and see their reviews and add reviews and see everybody else's reviews. Or you can create a flight booking system that says, I want a window seat and an aisle seat, and I want a vegan meal, and here are the dates that I want my flight booked, and book your flight, right? So you can create anything behind a username and password custom portal. So Wix is a tool you can use to create your app. Now, another really cool tool that you can use to create your app is called AppSheet. AppSheet. Now, what AppSheet does is it allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn it into an app. And we've all used a spreadsheet before. Take a spreadsheet and instantly turn it into an app. You can show, have data, people type in data, sign for things, enter information. You can show charts and graphs. You can show grids of images and galleries. You can show locations and plot directions in between locations. You do all sorts of stuff like this. So AppSheet allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn it into an app. Now, Mighty Networks is another really awesome tool that you can use. Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. So everybody gets their own profile. People can follow each other and like each other. There's a feed of information and posts. People can like each other's posts. They can start different discussion threads and different discussion rooms, all of that. So Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. And this social network app can be on Android, iPhone, or on the web. ShareTribe is another really cool tool. What ShareTribe does is it allows you to create your own marketplace app. Now, what do I mean by marketplace? Well, a marketplace is where people buy and sell things from each other. So think Airbnb, for example, right? So ShareTribe allows you to have people buy and sell things from each other. You can see on the side right here an example of what that looks like. People can put services or things that they want to rent or sell or those sorts of things and create your own marketplace app. Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. You can have lessons and videos and tutorials and assignments and quizzes and PDFs and audio and all sorts of different things to educate your customer. So Thinkific is for building your own education app. Cloud Match allows you to create your own Tinder-style recommendation app. So you can match people to things or places, and they can swipe and look at their different matches. Stencil allows you to create video games without writing any code. And these video games can be on iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows, or on the web. Here's an example of a video game that was created by someone just like me and you who had an idea for an app but had absolutely no idea how to code. So what I want to do is I just want to pause for a second and welcome you to the future. We're here. We're in the future now. We're here. Because what I know and a lot of other people in tech now know is that by 2025, most software won't be made by coders, but instead by people from diverse backgrounds using logic. Because in order to build apps, you no longer need to be a software developer or use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python. You don't need to do any of those things. In fact, you don't even need to write a single line of code. So what I want to do again is I just want to welcome you to the future where your exact app idea, and I'm talking about even advanced app ideas, algorithms, and things where you scrape from the internet and all sorts of sophisticated apps are possible to build using tools like some of the ones that I just mentioned to you, but using logic-based software tools, right? And you might be thinking, wait a minute, whoa, that just blew my mind blown. This is so cool. I'm learning all these tools. This is awesome. But I don't know if I have time to build an app myself, right? I don't know if I have time to actually sit down and actually build an app for myself. But here's the thing. I just want to show you something. This is Charisse Murphy. Charisse is another entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching. So Charisse is an author. And again, nothing against authors, but authors are not necessarily known for being the world's best app builders, right? But Charisse built an online social platform for sci-fi and comic fans. And I helped her build her app, and she was a finalist on the TV show Planet of the Apps with Gary Vaynerchuk, Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow, Will.i.am, etc. And it works kind of like Shark Tank. And so Charisse says, I got a professional developer. I spent 9 months and almost $9,000 to get practically nothing. After using Terra's Apps Without Code system, within 2 hours, I had built the first model of my app myself. So from 9 months of struggling to 2 hours having the first model for app built herself. Big difference between 9 months of struggle and 2 hours. 9 months, 2 hours. Which one you want? Right? So reality check, it does not take a lot of time if you use a proven system. Sure, if you're out there trying to figure it out on your own, like just clicking around, trying to figure out how it works, maybe it'll take a long time. But if you use this proven system, it does not take a lot of time at all. And that is secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without tech people. Cool. Awesome. Siri says mind blown. I say, wow, awesome. I love that. Jason says, I will make time for this. This is great. I love it. Jordan says, what if I need Bluetooth and GPS functionality for a native app? You can absolutely do that. Becky says, whoa, I love this. Anita says, I feel like you just saved my life. I love it. Good. So I just wanted to introduce you to these tools and this process that you can use, right? That's secret number 2. Can we move on to secret number 3? I have one more thing I want to show you. Cool. Tracy says, tea spilled. I love it. Let me show you one more thing, because we've talked about how to come up with a strong idea. And we also talked about how to build the app itself. But now we need to talk about how to make money from this thing, because that's the whole doggone point, right? So let's talk about this. So Hunter says, I love this. I'm going to take off work and start my new app. I love it. Ron says, what about smart algorithms? You can absolutely build smart algorithms. Like I mentioned, my first company was an algorithm to match people to artwork based on their taste. So absolutely. Okay, let's move on to secret number 3. Y'all ready? Can we do it? Let's go. Okay, secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Yep, I said it. I said 50. 50. All right, so let's talk about this. Most people, when they come up with an idea for an app, they assume that their app needs to be free or 99 cents. Let me know in the chat if you assumed that your app was going to be free or 99 cents or maybe like $5, something like that. Let me know, right? If you assumed your app needs to be free or 99 cents, something around there, right? Please do not do that. Do not do that. If you do that, you will be broke for at least the first few years. You are welcome to do it and do the math to figure out how many 99 cents you need to pay your bills. It's a lot. It's a lot of scraping for 99 cents at a time, right? $10, any of those things, right? So don't do, why would you do that to yourself? Don't do it, right? So reality check, your app should not be free or 99 cents or anywhere close. It shouldn't be. No. So what I want to do is I want to give you a couple ways to completely reimagine the price that you're thinking about charging for your app. I want to give you a couple ways to shift your mindset on this, right? So the first thing I want you to think about, first question I want you to ask yourself is, who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that I can target? Who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that I can target? Let me break down what I mean by this. So everybody here has lots of different types of customers who will be interested in what you're building, right? Of course, there'll be lots of people who want this. But all of your customers are going to fall into one of three lanes. The first type of customers are in the slow lane. These are people where if you sit down with them and you talk to them, you explain things to them, they'll eventually get it. They'll come around and understand exactly what you're talking about. They'll get it, right? If you explain it to them, you sit down with them, right? Then you've got people who are on the sidewalk. This is my grandma. Like, no matter what you tell her, she's not going to download your app. Just don't even ask, right? We all know that person who's just not going to do the cool tech savvy thing. We just know that person, right? And then finally, you've got people who are in the fast lane. These are people who yesterday they were Googling, trying to find an answer to their problems. And they were complaining to their friends and their coworkers saying, oh my gosh, I wish someone would just launch a company to solve this so I didn't have to keep dealing with this, right? Those are the people who are in the fast lane. Those are the people who are already looking for you. They were looking for you yesterday. And those are the customers that you want to focus on exclusively when you launch a business. Specifically, you want to focus on fast lane customers with disposable income. And you want to only target them to start. Afterwards, you can expand. But you want to only target them to start. So let me show you how this would work. Let's say you have an idea for an app that helps you track groceries, let's say, right? So you could target the everyday person, but the problem is that the everyday person is kind of strapped for cash. So they're probably only going to pay you $1, $2, maybe $5 for the app, right? But instead of going after the everyday person, making your app for everyone, which you don't want to do, instead you could target fast lane customers with disposable income. For example, you could say, well, what about targeting recent graduates of business school or law school? Because they just came out of a school and they just landed in a cool new job and they have got to be impressive in that job. So they're working late, they're staying long hours, and they're ordering Uber Eats for a long time after work in order to get things delivered to them. They're paying $5 for every delivery. And they're spending $150 a year on Instacart to have their groceries delivered to them because they're so busy and working. And they have no complaints about spending $5 for every delivery and $150 for Instacart. They're not complaining about it at all, right? They're happy with that, right? So you can target those people, and that's kind of how this gets you in a slightly different mind frame. So question for you, let me know in the chat, who are the fast lane customers with disposable income that you could go after? Fast lane customers with disposable income that you could target. Who are the people? They're already looking for you, and they're ready and willing to pay you. Who are those people? Let me know in the chat. All right. Now, the second thing I want you to think about, because that was the first thing. I said there were two. The first thing is, who are the fast lane customers with disposable income? The second thing I want you to think about is, how could I white label the app for businesses who will be my customer and pay me as my customer? How could I white label the app for a business who will pay me? So let me tell you what I mean by white label. Let me tell you what I mean by this. So white labeling means that you design an app, and then you take your logo off of the app. You take it off. And you find a client, a company, and you put their logo on the app. And you charge that company essentially a lot of money to take credit for them to be able to say, we have our own app, right? And you can do this for an unlimited number of customers. You could have 500 customers, 500 companies where you've white labeled the app for, right? So white labeling means you design the app, you take your logo off and put their logo on. That's what it means, right? So remember I told you about Josh's music app, this app to teach music classes at schools? Well, at first, Josh assumed that he was going to charge parents for the app. He was going to teach their kids about music, so the parents were going to pay for it, and he was going to charge $5 a month for the app, right? That was his plan. But then he asked himself, and this is the question I want you to ask yourself, what companies or organizations would want their own version of this app? What companies or organizations would want their own version of the app? And he thought about it and he said, well, wait a minute, schools would. Schools would like to have their own version of the app. And so he decided to charge schools instead of going directly to the parents. Now, what that allowed him to do was it allowed him to charge $5,000 for his app. So every single school pays $5,000 per year to use the app. And that is much different than him doing $5 at a time. $5,000 versus $5, big difference. And so what ideas does this spark for you? Who are the companies where you could white label your app? What kind of companies or organizations would want to have their own app, version of their app? Nina says colleges and talent teams. Ron says financial service professionals. Yeah, absolutely. We want to have their own idea. Let me know in the chat what kinds of companies would want to, companies or organizations, could be a nonprofit, would want to have their own version of this app. Cool. And that is secret number 3. How to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. This is not a 99-cent scraping pennies thing. If you do it, you'll be broke, right? Instead, we want to think about who are the people who are fast lane customers who are already ready to pay, or what kinds of companies would like to have their own version of this app. You instantly make 5 times the amount of money, instantly. Amy says hospitals, school districts, gyms. Yeah, all kinds of people, okay? So I just want to check in for a second. Let me know in the chat. I just want to hear if this is helpful. Is this helpful? Are you learning things? Does this have some ideas going? Let me know in the chat if this is helpful thus far. I just want to check in with folks. Let me know. Let me know. This is helpful and you were learning some stuff. Helpful and learning stuff. Let me know. Good. Okay. Tracy says yes with lots of S's. Tracy says it's super helpful. Hella helpful. Okay, good. Good. Fashion says this is gold. I love it. This is wonderful, helpful. Nina says yes with lots of S's. Okay, good. I'm super glad this is helpful. My goal is to really give you a bunch of stuff you can use and actually execute on, right? Excellence in motion. I love it. Most deaf, Jeff says helpful. I love it. Absolutely. Wheels turning, says Alan. Okay, got it. Cool. Okay, so this is pretty insightful. Got it. You just broke down a roadblock. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm so glad. So glad. So here's a quick recap of what you've learned thus far. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. First one. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea so that you're raking in the money and you're not broke. Okay? So let me know in the chat who's really excited about the stuff that you're learning and you want to take what you're learning to the next level. Let me know in the chat if you're really excited about this and you just want to take it to the next level. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. You want to take this and actually apply it. Cool. Yeah, Maureen says, absolutely. You can use camera, voice, also any sorts of sensors on the phone. Absolutely. Tracy says, me. I love it. Yeah, let me know if you want to actually implement some of this stuff for your own company now. Like you're like, ideas are flowing. Now I got to get it actually into my own idea and going. Yeah. Belinda says, I really am. I love it. Maureen says, me with lots of ease. I love it. Sydney says, I'm planning now. Good. I love it. Delonte says, Tara, I need you as my personal mentor. I love it. Ooh, me. Robert says, good. I'm excited that you guys are wanting to take this to the next level. So I want to talk to you about an opportunity to do that. An opportunity to actually take what you just learned and implement it. And what it's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp is really cool. It is an opportunity for us to work together for 2 months. So who was that in the chat who just asked me if I can help them directly? This is what we're talking about, right? To actually implement this. Specifically, there's going to be a bunch of things we do in bootcamp, but it is a program that I put together for us to work together. There's personalized coaching. I'm going to work with you on this. I put together a bunch of video tutorials of all the steps you need to take to build this app. And also, you're going to get access to this community of other entrepreneurs. They're going to help you start getting clarified on your app idea, build it, and start making money from it, right? Build it and start making money from it. So let's see here. So let me know in the chat. I have a question for you. Let me know the answer. LaDonna says, I think I just joined. Am I late? No, we're still talking. So What if you could, here's my question for you. What if you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days? Type in the chat and let me know. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. If you could get my help and launch your app business in the next 60 days. Type I'm in if you'd be in for that. Or what if you could have weekly access to your own startup coach, right? Your own startup coach, so that when you're veering a little bit too far to the left, you're going off track, you even know that you're going off track, your startup coach just gets you right back focused and on track on the things that are important that you need to know. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. I'm seeing lots of I'm ins. I love it. Yes, I'm in. Or type I'm in into the chat if you would be in for learning how to make your app a premium experience, like a $50 a month kind of app, so that, let me do the math for you, so that you would only need 170 signups to make an extra $100,000 this year. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Right. Got it. Guys, lots of I'm ins. Got it. I love it. I love it. On fire. On fire. I love this. I love this. So After That Code Bootcamp is all about helping you finally build that app idea that you have been stalling on. Because for a lot of you guys, it's been weeks, months. Some of y'all, you can let me know it's okay in the chat. It's been years. It's been years that you have been thinking about this app idea. It's just been way too long. It's time to go. It's time to go. It's time, right? And it's also about helping you get a high quality app without spending a ton of time or money or letting someone else execute on your idea first because you took so doggone long. It's about to be you. Don't let it be you. Right? It sucks to have that happen. So I'm opening enrollment right now for my summer class for After That Code Bootcamp, which means that we will be working together on your app idea. Cool? So my slide first. So I want to walk you through what the program looks like. There are a bunch of different parts to it. So I want to walk you through the program so you're really clear on how it works. So part 1 is the course. It is all the stuff I wish I knew when I was getting started as an entrepreneur. All the stuff that it took me like 5 years to figure out on my own, because I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years now. All that stuff that you don't have to fumble around to do, I'm just going to tell you. Right? So there's step-by-step video lessons, templates. So literally you just make a copy of the template, make some tweaks to it, and you've got your app going. App guides, tutorials, all that stuff, right? And this is what it looks like once you get inside of the course. So there are all the different steps that you need to take along the journey. And when you click on each of the steps, it breaks it down step by step in detail of every single thing you need to do. Like it is literally just a roadmap. It's a roadmap for you. Right? It's just like a map that you can put on the table and say, okay, now I know where I'm going, and you can see where you are along the journey. That's what it is. All right. And we have a couple of different ways that we do this. We break it down into multiple weeks. So on week 1, we're going to focus on pricing your app. Like, how much should you charge? Is it $10 a month? Is it $50 a month? Can you go $100 a month? Or maybe you could white label it and charge $5,000 like Josh did, right? Like, what is the best way to price this thing? On week 2, we're going to find your perfect customers. Remember we talked about fast lane customers with disposable income. There are a ton of different types of people who are going to be interested in your app. So we have to find the right ones to start with. We'll expand all of them eventually, but we have to find the right ones to start with. On week 3, we're going to pre-sell your app. What do I mean by pre-sell your app? Well, what I mean is that we are going to get people to pay you money to be on the wait list for the app before you're even done building it. Now, why would we do that? Well, we're going to pre-sell your app because when you pre-sell it, you know once you start building that you are 100% building the right things. There's no guessing. You already know that people are signed up. You're sure of that, right? So when you pre-sell your app, you set yourself up to be successful because you already know people are on board, right? You've already got them on board. In week 4, we're going to work on your website and your brand, and then we're going to spend weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8 actually building your app. Right? So that's the course, part 1. Now, part 2 of 3 is my second favorite part. This is the community. Now, let me tell you why this is important. When I say community, by the way, I mean a wolf pack of other successful entrepreneurs to support you. That's what I mean. I want to tell you why this is important. Most entrepreneurs that I see, they're trying to make this transition from a 9-to-5 to working on as an entrepreneur full time. And they're having trouble just wrapping their mind around it, doing the things that they need to do. And the reason why they're having such a hard time is because everybody that they spend their time around, that they're around, has a 9-to-5 job. And there are a lot of people around them, they just do not understand this whole entrepreneurship thing that they're trying to do. Let me know in the chat if you have people around you who just like, they don't get the entrepreneurship thing that you're talking about. They understand security and job security, but they do not understand this weird entrepreneurship thing you're talking about. Let me know in the chat if you know about that, right? So one of the things that we need to do to instantly get you even further as an entrepreneur is put you around other entrepreneurs. You need this community, this wolf pack, right? So here's an example of a post that was posted in the community. Shara says, hey guys, they're about 90% to my launchable MVP. That's the first fancy version of her app. How about you guys? I was thinking we could test out each other's apps in a working session before we go public to our audiences. And then we could troubleshoot on that call real time. Maybe we could do it Sunday hackathon style, right? So you get this community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. Jason says, I know a lot about this, about people not understanding what it is that you're working on, right? Now, part 3 is my favorite part of the program. It is why this program is completely different. And this is that you're going to get your own startup coach. Get your own startup coach. Now, who's your startup coach going to be? I wonder. It's going to be me. So we're going to be working directly together to get your app idea up and running. And I'm not just talking about building the app. I'm talking about the marketing, the sales, the strategy, all of that around it. And I'm talking about any country that you're from. I actually have entrepreneurs in 16 different countries who have done this bootcamp program. 16 that I've worked directly with, right? So you're going to get your own startup coach in part 3. So that when you're getting confused, you're not sure what to do next, you have someone exactly that you can talk to. We'll be able to go on video chat. It'll be 2 ways, not like this where it's just 1 way. It'll be 2-way video chat. You can say, hey, Tara, here's exactly where I got stuck. Let me show you my screen and I'll help you. Roll up my sleeves and help you. So that's part 3, get your own startup coach. So I want to show you, this is Ashley Williams. Ashley built an app for schools to hire athletic trainers. She started with just an idea. Like literally all she had was just the idea. Just an idea. She didn't have anything planned out. She didn't have it all organized. She just had an idea. Since doing bootcamp, she now has 50 customers. She's done $3,000 in revenue. And she did all of that in 60 days. 60 days. Like came up with the app idea, built the app, and got her first 50 customers in 60 days, right? And this is what Ashley's app looks like. So you log in, and it's the way it works is if you have a football team or a basketball team, you have to have an athletic trainer there on staff in order to help just in case something happens. And so the way her app works is you log in, you put information in about the game that you have coming up, and it matches you with an athletic trainer who can be there for your game, right? Now, Ashley says, I personally cannot function successfully without structure, even if that means it will cost money. So from killing it in the gym with CrossFit to joining Apps Without Code Bootcamp, I personally do much better when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. A set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. I know a lot about this because I'm the same way. Like it helps me a lot to have a set plan and an accountability group. Let me know in the chat if you're like that, where like you just know that you do better when you have a plan and an accountability structure. Right? A lot of us are like this. Right? I'll show you one last example. This is Brittany Gerald. Brittany built an app for pharmaceutical companies to report drug side effects to the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration. Right? So before doing bootcamp, Brittany spent $30,000 trying to hire people to build her app for her. And she was frustrated because she still had no app and no customers. It wasn't working. It was not working. After doing bootcamp, she had a finished app. She had 2 customers, but these are big customers. She did the white label thing. So each of these customers pays her $10,000 in order to build her app. $10,000, right? So that's the course. Part 1 is the course. So the video lessons, tutorials, guides, your roadmap is part 1. Part 2 is this community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. And part 3 is that we're going to work together. I'm going to be your startup coach. That's the structure of the program, right? Now, there are a ton of different types of people that bootcamp is really good for. So I just want to point out, though, who bootcamp really works for and is good fit for. So first of all, bootcamp is really good for working professionals who are getting kind of antsy because they're frustrated about having their income limited. So you have a job. Your job says you make this much, but how come you can't make more than that, right? So for working professionals are getting a little antsy. It also works really well for existing entrepreneurs. This is not their first time in the entrepreneurship rodeo, who want to add more tech savviness to their business. It works really well for busy parents who want to work part-time on a super lucrative app business so they can spend the rest of their time with their family. And it works super well for ambitious entrepreneurs who need to stop being stingy with their app idea. They're like, oh, I can't tell anyone. I don't want anyone to know. I'm going to wait, not launch it. You need to bless the world with this awesome idea that you've been stalling on for months. This is you. I'm talking to you. So when I talk to folks about launching their company, launching an app, there's really like 3 reasons I often hear why people don't get started, right? People are either scared it's going to take too much time. That's one thing I hear. Or they're scared it's going to take too much money. Or they're scared it's going to be too hard. Like, these are the 3 things that I hear people say, right? But the thing is that when you have a coach, it doesn't take too much time because you know exactly what to do. You're not wasting time. And it doesn't take too much money because you're not wasting time or hiring people you don't need to hire. You're not doing any of that. And it's not too hard because you know all the steps. You have a coach coaching you through it, right? So there's After That Code Bootcamp. And just for context, I often go to Silicon Valley and I work with existing startups to do the same kind of work. When I do that, I charge them $10,000 and up. I'm not going to charge you $10,000. But when I do this work with companies in Silicon Valley, this is what I charge them, right? Because After That Code Bootcamp, I put together all these video lessons, templates, guides. You're going to have 32 hours in total of coaching with me, and you're going to have access to the private After That Code community, right? But one of the things that I often hear people say is they're like, hey, Tara, this is really cool. I'm super interested in bootcamp, but I just don't have a ton of money to spend. Like, I'm thinking about my app, but like, I don't have a lot of money to spend on getting this app idea up and running, right? Anyone thinking this or concerned about this? So if this is you, if you're thinking about like the money you need to spend to get this company up and running, I just want to do something that's going to make your life a little bit easier, right? So when you invest in bootcamp today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. I'm going to pay for your costs for 3 months, pay your bills, right? Now, I recommend that you use Wix.com to launch your website. Do you have to use Wix? No, absolutely not. But I recommend that you use Wix. And when you use Wix, I'm going to pay for your bills for your website for 3 months. You just get that handled, right? So with access to Wix, you have your website up and running by tomorrow afternoon. You're not Googling how to create a website. You're not begging your friends to build a website for you. You're not wasting $20,000 on a development team to build your website for you. You're not doing any of that, right? So there's After That Code Bootcamp. Plus, I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months, right? But then another thing I often hear people say is they're like, okay, so I'm kind of worried because I really like this idea of bootcamp. I want to do it. I'm getting excited about this, but I'm kind of concerned because my app idea might be complicated. It's going to be really complicated. I need to do a lot of fancy things in my app, right? I'm concerned about that. Anyone thinking about that? Let me know in the chat if you're thinking about that, thinking about your app needing to be fancy, right? Let me know. So when you invest in bootcamp today, if you're thinking about this, another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access to my advanced app guide. Advanced app guide. What the heck is an advanced app guide? So the advanced app guide is a guide for doing all of the fancy stuff. You want to integrate an API. You want to build sophisticated databases. You want to do all that fancy stuff, right? And so you're not Googling, trying to figure out how to build fancy stuff in my app. You're not wasting $20,000 on development teams. You're not doing any of that. You have the advanced app guide that you can use to do all the fancy stuff, right? GPS, all that kind of things integrated into your app, algorithms, etc., right? So for clarity, I used that advanced app guide and I got my first $300,000 investment by using that advanced app guide to build the algorithm in my first app. Fancy stuff, right? Josh, who I told you about with the music app, he made his first $30,000 in revenue using the advanced app guide. Patrick, who I mentioned to you earlier, he built an app and licensed it to Coca-Cola, who became his customer, did the white label thing for Coca-Cola using the advanced app guide. So the advanced app guide is literally just money for you to use to do all the fancy stuff, just the guide step by step. So there's After That Code Bootcamp, which I usually am going to Silicon Valley. I'm charging $10,000 to work with folks on this kind of stuff. But I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. Plus, I'm going to give you the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, right? Now, the last thing I often hear people say is they're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. I would love to work with you and your team to get my app idea up and running, but I'm kind of concerned because I'm not a salesperson or a marketer. So I'm kind of concerned about that. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get people to sign up for my app once I build it. I'm concerned about that. All right. Anyone thinking about that? Like, how the heck am I going to get people to sign up for it? Right. So if you're in that boat, I just want to do one last thing to make your life easier. So what I'm going to give you is my 7-day email list builder. what the heck is a 7-day emails builder? So 7-day emails builder is all of my email marketing templates that you can use for getting new customers. So what do you say in the email? What do you say in the subject line? What do you say once a customer responds? How do you even find email addresses of potential customers to email in the first place, right? It literally walks you through all of that and just gives you templates you can copy and paste, make some edits, and put it into your business. So that way you're not begging your marketing friends for help. You're not running Facebook ads, which you should not be doing yet at this point. You're not sitting down at your computer trying to be the world's best email sales writer when you know that's not your forte. You're not doing any of that. You just have a template you can use to plug and play, right? So there's Apps Without Code Camp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff. The 7-day emails builder for doing all of the marketing stuff. Cool? Now, I have a question for you. Let me know the answer in the chat. Ready? Okay. So if Apps Without Code Bootcamp helped you create an app business where you could charge $50 a month for your app, so you would only need 170 customers to make an extra $100,000 this year, would it be worth it? Let me know in the chat. Would it be worth it? Or if Apps Without Code Bootcamp helped you build an audience and a wait list of customers down the road, they're just like waiting to use your app. They can't wait for it. Would it be worth it? Or if it gave you weekly access to your own startup coach to help you, right? To help you work through all these things, get all your thoughts organized, and then actually build it, would it be worth it? Or if it helped you not waste $10,000, $20,000 on developers and marketers or all those things, let me know in the chat, would it be worth it? Yes. Philanda says absolutely. Ron says yes. Yeah, because you would have a completely up and running business. You would be able to choose if you wanted to continue with your job or be a full-time entrepreneur, right? You would just have the ability to choose that because you would have a fully up and running and revenue generating machine that you had, right? So I want you to know again that I'm opening enrollment for my summer class of Apps Without Code Bootcamp. I'm going to be working with folks. I have a limited number of folks that I can work with, though. And so a couple of guys were asking me in the chat, well, wait a minute, how much does bootcamp cost? Like, can you give me all the details? What does that look like, right? So for context, if you go out and you hire someone to build an app for you, right? You build an app for you, it's going to cost $20,000 and up, right? $20,000 and up. When I do this sort of training for folks, I'm charging them, when I go to Silicon Valley, I'm charging $10,000 to do this kind of work. However, I put together a really awesome opportunity for you guys to do bootcamp. So the price for bootcamp is $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month. $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to post a link into the chat where you can get signed up, check out bootcamp, get signed up. I just put it in there. You can check it out right now. And also, if for any reason that link does not work for you, you can go to join.appswithoutcode.com. I'll put that into the chat too. Join.appswithoutcode.com to get enrolled. Cool? Join.appswithoutcode.com to get enrolled. All right. Cool. All right. I just want to do a quick check and make sure everyone can hear me. What I want to do next is I have one more thing I want to show you, and then I want to jump into questions. I want to make sure everybody here gets all of their questions answered about bootcamp or about anything related to their business. Jody says, how many bootcamps do you do per year? I open up bootcamp 1 or 2 times per year. 1 or 2 times per year. Cool. Okay. So here we go. So a couple things I want to tell you, and then I'm going to go through and answer every single person's questions and talk to you one by one about all your questions. So I want to just remind you what bootcamp is for, because I know a lot of you guys just got the link, you're clicking it, you're getting enrolled, all that good stuff. So what are we going to do in bootcamp? Well, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build the first version of your app. Duh. That's the first promise of bootcamp. The second promise of bootcamp is that you're going to learn a process for getting your first 100+ customers. Those are the 2 things we're going to be focused on. If you're like, wait a minute, we talked about it a lot. What exactly am I going to be doing in this program? Those are the 2 things that we're going to be doing together, right? So, you know, they say the early bird gets the worm. You've heard this before, this phrase, the early bird gets the worm. So I have 2 fast action bonuses for you guys. These 2 fast action bonuses expire tonight at midnight. Tonight at midnight, they go away. So I'm going to walk you through what they are. I'm going to tell you those things, and then I'm going to go in and answer everybody's questions. Cool? All right. So as I mentioned, the price for bootcamp is $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 to work together, right? But when you pay in full today, I have a bonus for you. And that bonus is a 10% discount on top of everything. Somebody asked about scholarships. Here's your chance right here. So a 10% discount. So the price is $1,900, but you have a 10% discount, so it ends up being like $1,710, right? So you've got Apps.Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, the 7-day emails builder for doing all the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount on top of that when you pay in full. Unfortunately, the discount does not apply when you do the payment plan. It only applies when you do the pay in full. Cool? Okay, so I want to be really clear as well that I have a refund guarantee. And what I mean by that is my personal mission, like the thing that is important to me, is helping people have time freedom and money freedom. Like those are the things that get me up in the morning, right? Those are things that motivate me. And so for that reason, I have a refund guarantee. So what I mean by that is if you do the work and you're not happy with the course after 7 days, I'm super, super happy to give you your money back. Now, you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, is 7 days going to be enough for me to know if this bootcamp is going to work or if I like working with you, right? And the answer is yes, because in the first week, you're going to have about 16 hours of coaching with me. We're going to do a lot together in the first week because I want you to be organized and know exactly what you're going to do. Now, we're not going to do that all in one day. We're going to split it up. But you're going to have a ton of coaching time with me, so you'll be able to feel out if you like working with me or not, right? Okay, so I mentioned there's 2 fast action bonuses. The first one is a 10% discount. The second fast action bonus, when you pay in full, you're also going to get a 2-hour live session with me. A 2-hour live session with me. Now, during this 2-hour live session, we're going to set up your app business plan. So we're going to implement the exact system that I personally use to launch apps, get 200 plus people on the waiting list waiting to go before I'm even done building the app, and usually make about $10,000 in the first month. So during this 2-hour session, we're going to research your perfect customer profiles. Who's the perfect customer to go after? We're going to determine how much you should charge them. We're going to explore like ways that you can charge $50 a month or more, and we're going to outline your email and social media marketing plan. So that's what we're going to do during that 2-hour live session together. So there's Apps.Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for your website costs for 3 months. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, the 7-day emails for doing the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount when you pay in full, and a 2-hour live session when you pay in full. Cool? Does that make sense? So if you want those 2 fast action bonuses that I mentioned, they expire tonight at midnight. You want to type in FAST 10 when you get enrolled. FAST 10 to get enrolled. All caps, FAST 10. Cool. Okay. So now I want to turn it to you because I know you have lots of questions about your app, about bootcamp, about your business ideas, all this stuff. So what I want you to do is take a moment and think of a question that you have for me, type it into the chat, and I will answer your question. And as you're doing that, check out the link to bootcamp. I know a lot of you guys are getting enrolled right now. Super excited to be working with you. So let me know what questions you have. Okay. All right. Questions. Let's see. Okay. So, Tang says, can you possibly use PayPal credit? Yeah. So check this out. So to sign up, this is what the page looks like to enroll. There's a countdown when the bonuses expire. And there's a PayPal option right here. So if you do want to pay in PayPal, you can do that, or you can just use a regular card. And then you want to type in FAST10, all caps. And when you click away, it'll give you your discount code and also the 2-hour live session with me. And then you can hit submit. Once you hit submit and enroll, as soon as you hit enroll, the next screen that you are going to see is going to be a calendar. And on that calendar, you're going to have the choice of choosing when you want to start working with me, when you want to start working together. The first class that I have starts this weekend. This weekend is the first class. So if you're ready to go now, you can get enrolled. I have, I think, 4 seats left in that class for this weekend. So if you want to get enrolled and get one of those 4 seats, go do that. If you don't want to start this weekend, you still get enrolled now, but you'll choose the date on the calendar that works best for you. So you choose your own schedule. I started launching my company when I had a 9-to-5 job, so I know what it's like to be managing a schedule. So you get to choose your own schedule. But the first class is this weekend, if you want to start this weekend. Okay, other questions. Okay, Daryl said, thank you so much. I love this. It's giving me hope. I love it. Okay, other questions. Okay, so Danny says, Tara, I'm from West Africa, currently living in the U.S. I want to develop my country, and I believe that I know there's a lot of potential there. I have an idea for an app to help young people learn more, connect more, market or sell more. Can you help me with that? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to help you with that. And specifically, depending on who you're going after, right, you can go after organizations, individuals, or you can go after people individually who are going to pay for your app, right? You can monetize a bunch of different ways. Cool. Jordan says, how can you protect the app when white labeling it to a company? Great question. So when you white label your app to a company, you are signing a document, or I'm sorry, they're signing a document. You're going to sign it too, but you're signing a document. And what they're saying is, we are paying you money for limited use of this app and only use in the kind of like way that you've outlined. So that document, when they sign on as a customer, that is you protecting. Now, you might be wondering, well, how do I make sure that I, write a legal document that's going to work and make sense? So in Bootcamp, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get legal help and legal work for free. There are a ton of law firms that are actually out there, and I'm not talking about regular law firms, startup-specific law firms. They specialize in startups, and you should not be going after just general law firms. You want a startup law firm, because what a lot of them do is they'll do services for you for free, or they'll defer your costs. So I'll show you how to find those programs as well. Okay, Sunny says, who owns intellectual property of your app? So if I use an app like with one of the app building tools that you just mentioned, what happens with it, right? What happens if I make an app and a patent troll runs away with it or something like that? So with intellectual property for using these app building tools, you own 100% of it. So it works kind of like this. Imagine you're an author and you are writing a book and you use Microsoft Word to write your book, right? Microsoft does not own your book at all. You own 100% of your book, right? You just happen to be using their tool to write the book, and that's how that works. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, so I just see that Clarissa just got enrolled, paid in full. Clarissa, excited to work with you. And Kelsey and Alejandro. Clarissa, Kelsey, Alejandro. Super excited to work with the three of you. Let me know in the chat, Clarissa, Alejandro, and Kelsey, why you decided to sign up. Let me know why you decided to sign up for Bootcamp in the chat. Okay, what other questions do folks have? Victoria says, during Bootcamp, do you discuss how to conduct user testing? Not only am we going to discuss it, I'm going to walk you through doing it. And what I mean by that is by week two, 85% of boot campers already have calls scheduled with customers who are interested. By week two, 85% of boot campers already have calls scheduled with people who are ready to talk about using the app. And that's part of the pre-selling of the app thing. So when we get on the phone with them, we get really clear on exactly what it is that they want, and we make sure that's included. So absolutely, we're going to talk about user testing because we're going to get them on board early, right? And that way you know that you're doing the right things. Okay, Jordan says hardware-based apps, are they supported? So they're supported if that hardware has access or gives you access to like a software where you can have an API access. If you can connect to an API, for example, you want to connect to Fitbit, absolutely, because Fitbit makes their API public. And that's true if you're building with code or without code. That company has to make their API public for people to use. As long as they do, we can connect to it. Nina says, are there additional fees required to use code-free software? So I recommend that you set aside an optional budget of about $100. You may not use all of it, but just to set it aside. All the tools that I'm going to teach you have a free tier for you to use. So you can get started with everything for free. But you may want to use some of the bonus features, and those range from $20 to $60 a month. So I would set aside, like, to be safe, like $100 for your software costs. Cool. Awesome. Other questions? Okay. Maureen, did I get your question? Okay, Maureen says, it's amazing. Can you build a telemedicine or Uber app with the click and drop and tips too? Yes, absolutely. So either one of those you can build. You can pretty much build any type of app with a drag, drop, point, click interface. That's what I teach folks to do. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool, awesome. Shanika, I see you just got signed up. Shanika, let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up for Bootcamp. Would love to hear. Super excited to work with you. And I think right now you're getting enrolled. So I have 2 more seats left, in the class that starts this weekend if you're ready to go. And if not, there's another date for you to choose as well. Okay, other questions. Paula says, what happens if you miss a class? So the first 2 classes are mandatory, but you get to choose it on your schedule. So if you can't make it work, we can just reschedule. After that, it's okay if you miss a class. I have recordings so that you can watch a recording. Yeah. Cool. Other questions? Okay. If I missed your question, you can retype it. Jordan says, I'm looking to build my own hardware for it. Any knowledge about that in manufacturing? There's a ton of people that I know who do that. I just am not specialized in hardware, so I wouldn't help you with that. Okay, so when your app grows really big, do you need more cloud storage? No. So here's how it works. All of the tools that I teach you, you can just move up in their pricing plan as your app gets bigger. So they handle all of your storage. And so if you want more storage, you just go up in their pricing plan, but you can stay using that software tool. Does that make sense? But by the time your app gets bigger, you're generating lots of revenue. So it's just completely irrelevant because you can spend a little bit more on the app, but that's okay. Right? Okay. What other questions do you have about your app or your business? One of the things that a friend of mine pointed out that was really helpful was she was like, Tara, I want you to look around for a second. I just want you to notice that top performers, people who are top performers in their field, in their industry, they always have coaches. Actors have coaches. Athletes have coaches. Executives have coaches, right? Pretty much everybody has a coach but you. We often think people are like self-made. They did it on their own. They worked really hard. But in reality, when you look under the hood, people have coaches. Top performers always have coaches. And so my question for you is, what are you going to do to get the coaching that you need? To get the coaching that you need to level up. Because it often just doesn't happen on its own. You have the coaching you need to level up. What is your plan for that? Okay. Other questions that folks have. Okay. Tang says, what software do you use? I use every single one of those tools that I mentioned for different things. And so one of the first things that we're going to do in bootcamp is we're going to talk about specifically what you're building, what you want to be building, and which tool is right for you. Cool. Awesome. I love it. I'm going to build an app. I love it. Okay, Erica says, do you need a computer to build an app, or is something you can do from your phone or tablet? I recommend that you do it from your computer. It is much easier to do it from your computer. Cool. What other questions do folks have? Other questions? Questions about your app or questions about bootcamp? Questions about your app or questions about bootcamp? Tang says, can you set up bi-weekly payments? So I can only do the monthly payment plan, but you can definitely do that and just pay monthly. That works as well. Okay. What other questions do folks have? Let me know what questions you have. One of the things I've also been doing is I've been thinking about and like really sitting down with a lot of people who make a lot of money. So I want to learn from them, like how they think, right? And one of the things that I've learned about how people who make a lot of money, the way that they think, is they think very differently about disposable income. So as you know, disposable income is the money that you have. You make some money from your job, you pay all your bills, and there's maybe some money left over. Maybe not a lot, but there's some money left over, right? And so your disposable income, a lot of people, they use it on like fun stuff. Like, okay, this is my money I have left over. I'm going to go to dinner. I'm going to spend it on Starbucks or things like that. But when you talk to people who make a lot of money, who are wealthy, they do something very different with their disposable income. They take their disposable income and they reinvest it in themselves or in some sort of investment, right? They get coaching, they buy real estate, they do something that's going to grow their money. And then they use the money that they make from that to do the fun stuff. It's a fundamentally different way of thinking about disposable income. But you can do this on a micro level, right? Even if you don't have a ton of disposable income, what are the ways you're going to take some of that and invest it into yourself to make more money, right? This is a fundamental difference in the ways that I've seen regular people and people who are making a lot of money think about disposable income. Okay, cool. Awesome. Chanel says, I teach coaching and I'm really stuck on an idea. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're stuck on and I can help you troubleshoot it right now. Cool. Azim says, what about a survey builder app feature that allows your members to create, customize, and send surveys? Absolutely. You can definitely do that. Maureen says, how much time does it take to work on building an app, a day or a week? I've always heard it's a lot of time, which is why I thought about getting a coder. So when you do bootcamp, I expect that you're going to spend 7 hours a week on your company as a whole. That includes marketing, building the app, thinking through your strategy, all of that, 7 hours a week. Now you can do that 1 hour a day. That's fine. or you can binge it on the weekend, right? That totally works too. So you want to separate that out, right? But that's kind of how you can set it up your schedule, and you can do it whenever. Okay, Nina says, I just signed up. Are there videos we should view before July 13th? So it looks like you got signed up for the July class, I'm assuming. So the first 2 modules, you'll see it as soon as you log in. The first 2 are not grayed out. Those are the things you should take a look at before we start working together on July 13th, Nina. And you should do those first 2 first. It'll get you warmed up and get you thinking about something, because we're going to pick up from where you left off on that and keep going. So Nina, excited to work with you. Awesome. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. What other questions do folks have, either about boot camp or about the app? I know folks are getting enrolled and signed up right now. Let's see who else I have here. Heather, super excited to work with you. Let me know in the chat, Heather, why you decided to sign up. Okay, other questions. Let's see here. Cool. Tang says, can I do an interview with you on Instagram during enrollment period? Send me an email. Maybe we can talk about it. You can just reply to my last email and give me more information about what you're thinking. Cool. Okay, other questions folks have. I really had a big decision to make in putting together this bootcamp program for you guys. I had a decision to either make it cheap or to make it valuable. I had to kind of choose between those 2 things. And I chose, although bootcamp is accessible, it's important for me to keep it accessible, I really wanted to make it valuable, meaning that you can jump into the program and instantly start building and making money, because that's the whole goal here, right? Want it to be valuable for you. Okay, what other questions do folks have? Let's see here. Okay, Brittany says, how long is the opportunity available, or do I need to decide immediately? Great question. Okay, so Passion says, where do you put Fast 10? Okay, let me answer both of those questions. So the place where you put Fast 10 is you go to the link that I put in the chat, or you can go to join, I'll type it into the chat again, .appswithoutcode.com. And so you go to put Fast 10 right here. So if you scroll down, here's the top of the page. Right here. You put Fast 10 where it says coupon code. So all caps, Fast 10. And it'll give you this 10% discount on top of everything and the 2-hour live session with me. Now, the 10% discount only applies when you pay in full. All right, cool. So then there was another question about how Brittany says, how long is the opportunity available? Do I need to decide immediately? So great question. So if you want the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me, you need to sign up before midnight tonight, midnight Pacific time. So if you're on Central time, it's 2 a.m. And if you're on Eastern time, it's 3 a.m. I think I did that right. But if you need more time to decide, then you can sign up by Sunday. Sunday is the actual deadline to enroll. However, if you sign up after midnight tonight, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you're not going to get the 10% discount or the 2-hour live session with me. All right, so those are fast action bonuses. Then there's a deadline. The full deadline is on Sunday. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, Cortez says, what about pull and drag apps? So all the tools that I'm going to show you allow you to drag, drop, point, click, every single one of them. I think that may answer your question. Clarify for me a little bit so I can make sure I'm answering exactly what you need. Andre says, I mean an app that's in the industrial world that can help customers' needs. Yeah, absolutely. And by industrial world, tell me what you mean by that. But you can build this in any vertical or any industry, right? Hey, Maureen says, will a recording of this class be available for friends who missed tonight? So here's what I'll do. If you give me until tomorrow, I can send you a recording of it. It's in recording. Cool. Yeah, so Ortiz says, apps where you can pull and drag components or information to build a final product. Yes, there absolutely are. Those are all the ones that I went through earlier and showed you all the different examples. Every single one of those is a tool that you can use to pull and drag components or information to build a final product. That's how we're going to build apps in general. And then we're going to use logic to do the rest of it, but we're going to drag, drop, point, click. Just like you would build like a PowerPoint presentation. Cool. What other questions do you have about Bootcamp, about your app, about all that good stuff? I want to make sure I get everyone's questions answered. And I just want to remind you as well a lot of people, they look at their life, right? And there's things that they want to do or change or improve about it. Like we all have that, right? But I just want to remind you that you get to choose what your life looks like. Like life doesn't just happen to you, right? You get to choose what you want it to look like. If you want to be an app entrepreneur, do the things you need to do to get yourself into the knowledge base that you need to have to be an app entrepreneur. It is literally that simple. If you want to have a lifestyle where you can be on the beach, you can hang out. Next week, for example, I'm going to Mexico, and then for a couple weeks after that, I'm going to spend a whole month working in Colombia. And I can do that from my computer because I can work anywhere. Right? If you want to set that up for yourself, you get to choose that. But you have to do the work to set it up for yourself. It doesn't just poof appear. Right? It's not a poof appear, but you also can't be like, oh, I don't like the way that things are. I don't know how to get out of it. You have a roadmap. It just requires you to invest in yourself to get there. Cool. Okay, other questions. Erica says this isn't a question. I'm really glad I saw this class on my social. As a first-time entrepreneur, it really helped me put them things into perspective. I plan to do boot camp. I love it. Cool. Awesome, Erica. I'm excited to work with you then. That sounds great. Okay, Andre, collision shops, mechanic shops, motorcycle shops. Yeah, I want to start with the Right Logic software. Absolutely. I actually think that that's a really good industry to go into because it's not like there are a ton of people racing to build software for that industry, right? So I think that makes a lot of sense because you can really stand out in that space, and I think you can make a lot of money. Maureen says, how do we engage during the course if we're having issues while working on the app? Are there live instructors? Yes. So Maureen, I'm going to work directly with you. So here's how it'll work. Every single week, we are going to have class. The class is going to be live. It's not going to be like this where like you can see me, but I can't see you. It'll be two ways. And so you'll be able to log on and say, hey, Tara, here's exactly where I got stuck. Let me show you my computer screen. Can you tell me exactly what I missed? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, you just missed this one thing. Click this and change this. You'll be like, oh, great, I got it. So it is going to be live and interactive. Every single week, you'll be able to come on and ask questions and get help. Absolutely. Passion says, will the class be recorded? Yeah, absolutely. So all those classes that I'm talking about, I do record them and I send them to you after a couple days after the class. So if you miss that class, for example, it's okay. Now, your first two classes, we're going to do like an intensive weekend together. So that one you have to be there live for. But if you miss one of the weekly classes, that's okay. That's okay. I'll record them. Other questions. I see other folks have gotten signed up. Let's see. Laura and Jim. Super excited to work with both Laura and Jim. Tell me why you guys decided to sign up in the chat. Woohoo! Awesome. Okay. Other questions that folks have? Any other questions before we wrap up? You know, one of the things that I think who was saying this? I think Tang was saying this in the chat that like your pricing is really good. You know, if you went out and you were just trying to get an app built for you, it's going to be $20,000 enough. $20,000, right? If you only got an app out of this program, it would be completely worth it. But we're not just going to focus on the app. We're going to focus on the app and the app business. Both of those things together because you can't just have one. You got to have both, right? Okay, Jamal was saying I'm looking for the payment plan. So the way you can find the payment plan is to scroll down. And it says if you're looking for the payment plan, 6 payments of $380, click here. You can click there to get the payment plan. Cool. Other questions? Passion says, I just signed up. Passion, I'm super excited to work with you. Why did you decide to sign up? Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. I would love to hear. Cool. What other questions do folks have about your business, about your app? And just to be clear, there is a 10% discount that you can use to enroll. 10% discount. That 10% discount expires tonight at midnight, right? And the 10% discount only applies when you pay in full. So it's $1,900, but then it goes down to $1,710. So it only applies when you pay in full. If you do the payment plan, you do not get the 10% discount. 10% discount and 2-hour live session with me is what that looks like. Cool. Awesome. Passion says, I have so many questions, but you answered them with honesty and without hesitation. Lets me know it's someone I want to work with. Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay, Jamal says, I found it. I just saw it when you said it. Sorry, it always happens that way, right? All right. Okay, Maureen says, how much work should we do on the app before the first class? None. You don't need to have anything done before the first class because what we're going to do in the first class is we're going to walk through your strategy to make sure that everything you have in place makes sense. So we're going to build your strategy first before you start working on it. So I don't expect you to like have anything already done, nothing already done. I just expect you to have like an idea that is not fully formed. That's all you need to have. Richard says, can you pattern these apps? What do you mean by pattern? I just want to make sure I understand what you mean by that. Pattern the apps. Pattern, what does that mean? I just want to make sure I'm answering your question right. Cool. Any other questions? I know folks are getting signed up right now. Again, you're going to join.appster.code.com and type in the code FAST10, all caps. The deadline is Sunday at midnight tonight to get the 10% discount. It's only if you pay in full, and the 2-hour live session also only if you pay in full. Then after that, the final deadline is on Sunday. Final deadline is on Sunday. But you will not get the 10% discount in the 2-hour live session. Okay, Jordan says, can I build an Android launcher? By Android launcher, you mean an app that is on Android? Is that what you mean by that? Oh, patent app, these apps. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Aaron. Patent, not pattern. Patent the apps, yes. Okay, like for example, so nobody, oh yeah, got it. Yes, patented or legally protected. Yes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to have lawyers do that work for free, your documentation. But I recommend that you get your first revenue in the door first and then do that kind of legal work. The reason I recommend that is because when you do that legal paperwork, you have to detail out every single thing that the app includes. But in the beginning, you're making shifts and changes to it. You're tweaking and improving it. So you don't want to have to go back and do the paperwork all over again, right? So you want to wait to get your first few customers, and then you can do your legal protection. That's how I recommend you do that. Cool. What other questions do folks have? Any other questions? You kind of have two choices here, right? And one of the things, by the way, that I've really noticed about people who are successful is they're decisive. Right? But you got two choices. You can do the same actions you've been doing, like same stuff, and get same results, or you can switch it up and get some value, take new actions with new results. They're kind of like two paths, right? Same stuff, or switch it up and do something different to get some different results in your life. It always takes doing a scary thing of getting some new results and doing a new thing to get that new result. It always does. So you have two choices here, right? I know a lot of you guys are really excited about building an app, though. Jamal says, what is your coaching style? Oh, that's a great question. So I alternate in my coaching style. Sometimes I'm going to really push you. And when I say push you, I mean, like, if you've been like, oh, I can't decide on something, I don't know what the name of the app's going to be. For example, I'll say, like, well, what do you think what is the app that you have in your head, right? Like, what's the one app you're kind of thinking about right now? App idea, the name. And you'll tell me, like, oh, I don't really know, but I think the app name should be this, X, right? I'll say, all right, we're going to lock it in, and let's send an email to 50 people telling them that's the name now. So there's going to be some scenarios where I'll push you because it doesn't even matter what your app name is. You can change it at any point, for example, right? And sometimes you need to just get going with stuff. So I am going to do that in some scenarios, but also there are going to be times where we're going to talk through stuff. And I actually focus a lot on the psychology of launching things. What I mean by that is there are times when it gets scary. If entrepreneurship were not scary, like everybody and their mom would have a successful $1 million business. But there are a lot of parts about this that are scary. There's a lot of like fear of rejection, for example, that pops up. So we're going to talk about that and tackle that so you have the tools to get out of your own way, right? You got to get out of your own way sometimes. Cool. Clarification. So Jordan says, Android apps that change the UI of the phone entirely. So yes and no. My question for you, Jordan, is how are you planning to make money with the Android app that changes the UI of the phone entirely? I just want to make sure I understand that. And he says, thank you so much. I love it. Cool. Okay. Any other questions that folks have? I know Jordan's going to get me some clarification. I know other folks are getting signed up. Let's see who else I have here. Tevin, super excited to work with you. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up, Tevin. Would love to hear. Okay, cool. Jamal says, this is wonderful. I just enrolled. Jamal, why did you decide to sign up? I would love to hear why you decided to sign up. Also, a couple of people have asked me if they can see reviews of what other people are thinking about bootcamp, right? Jordan says just a one-time payment considering other residual. Got it. Okay, you're going to charge with one-time payment. You're considering other residual-based payment options. Got it. How much are you thinking about charging, Jordan? So a couple people often ask me, like, hey, can I see examples of what people say about bootcamp? So I want to show you this. I have several dozen ratings and reviews of bootcamp, so you can get a chance to see this. Maureen says, for apps that require users to pay every time they use the app, are the apps secure, i.e. cybersecurity? Yes, so here's what we're going to do for payments and payment security. We're going to use a third-party company that is a professional in doing that. You have two choices of the payment provider you want to use. The first one is PayPal, which we all know. So you can process your payments by PayPal. PayPal is a humongous company we know is secure. The second option is called Stripe. And Stripe is actually the most popular option. It is a lot like PayPal, except it's not going to put PayPal's branding all over it. In fact, the majority of the payments that you make on the internet now are done through Stripe. You just don't know it. So we're going to use a third-party company, Maureen, that's going to give you security and a really secure way of making payments. Cool. So I wanted to show you this. This is there are a bunch of testimonials and examples of what people say about bootcamp. So I wanted to show you this. So there are a couple that are highlighted, and then you can click see more to see more of them, and there are dozens of people's reviews. So Tiffany says, hi, my name is Tiffany. I live in Chicago. I've been part of Apps.Code Bootcamp since April 2019. I would rate it a 4.5 out of 5. I've learned so many different softwares to accelerate my business. I like that we have weekly meetings to gain clarity on what we need to do next to make our business launch successfully. I do wish that there was more connection to people in my industry, but I found my way around that. So you get to see like actual real reviews, like people saying the pros and cons. I ask people for pros and cons so you get like the full picture. Natalia says, I live in Edison, New Jersey. I started bootcamp in May 2019. She started last month. Should rate bootcamp 5 out of 5. The pros of bootcamp. The best part of bootcamp is access to all the tools, templates, scripts, walkthroughs, and the community. Opportunities for bootcamp's improvement thus far. So far, I have no areas that I feel need improvement. Here's another example. Shanique is from Connecticut and started bootcamp in May 2019. She gives bootcamp a 5 out of 5. The pros of bootcamp, the lifetime membership and support. Opportunities for bootcamp's improvement, to create a bootcamp manual where all the documents that we use are in one place. Okay. Debbie is from St. George, Barbados, and started bootcamp in April 2019. Gives bootcamp a 4 out of 5 in her ratings. Pros of bootcamp, it doesn't just teach app building, also teaches the business modeling techniques behind a successful product. So you can click see more, and there are even more of these. There are a ton of reviews. You can also scroll down, see examples of apps that we build, all that kind of stuff. And videos from folks, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm going to give you this link if you also want to check this out. And on this page of all the stories, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, where's my scroll bar? Scroll all the way to the bottom of it. You can click here to get enrolled, and it'll take you back to the enrollment page. So if you're on the fence and you want to see what other people say about bootcamp, you can check this out. I'll put this in the link for you, in the chat for you. Cool. Jamal says, I joined bootcamp because I'm ready to leave my 9 to 5. You seem very sincere, and I really appreciate the open, honest people. I love it. Cool. I'm excited to work with you, Jamal. Okay. Jordan says, I want more clarity on if the tools you listed can build Android UI launchers. Monetization is a challenge for me to figure out. So Android UI launchers are not something that I will teach you how to do. So if you are only looking to build an Android UI launcher, it's going to change the UI of your app. It's pretty an uncommon type of app to build. And that's not something that we're going to cover in bootcamp. Cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, so if there are any other questions that pop up, please let me know. The best way to ask your question is to just send me an email. How do you send me an email? I'm going to type my email into the chat, but also you can just send me an email, just reply to my last email to you, Tara, and I will respond. So you can, I'm going to type it into the chat right now. Hold on. Here's my email. Also, you can just reply. The easiest way is just to reply to my last email from you, ask questions. But also, I would love if everybody could just reply and give me feedback. Like, what did you think about the workshop today? I would love to hear. Okay, cool. really great meeting all of you. I'm super excited to work with a lot of you guys on building your app. So just so you know, you have until midnight tonight to get the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me. After that, if you need more time, you can enroll until Sunday, but you will not get the 10% discount and the 2-hour live session with me. Cool? All right. I will talk to you guys really soon. Have an amazing rest of your evening. Bye-bye.